lower again, grade 11. So now we're going to do another array exercise. First we're going to declare, it says here declare global constant array, but now we'll make it local just so it's easier for you to find it. It's going to be filled with the months of the year. Display the months in a message box, not in the rich edit, but in a message box. That's going to be something different. So there's a constant array, arrow months, colon, array 1 to 12 of string equals. This is how you declare a constant array. Just put another line and then you'll see all the months in the round brackets. There they are, okay? So there's our constant array. It says constant, so on. So we're probably going to have to put in some variables, so just delete that comment. Right, now we have to declare, okay, we've got that constant array, now we're going to display it in a message box. So there are 12 boxes there. So I'm actually going to use a for loop. I've got to, each one has to be displayed in a message box. But if you're going to put it in a show message, we have to build a string. So I'm going to call it sline, get a variable called sline, a string. Then I'll say sline, make it empty, and then we're going to get a for loop because we have to go through each box and join the month to because 1 to 12 do. We're going to join each month from arrow months to sline, and we can use hash 13 even to space them so they go into new lines, or we can use a hash a space. We can do anything we want. We say sline equals sline plus arrow months. We're going to try it first with all in one line, box number K, but we must go and put a space at the end of each month, so at least you know they're separated and they're not all squashed together. So that space is very important. So there we go. January, February, March, April, May should be joined in each line, all joined to one line, and then you just show a message line. So these are the tricks of the trade that you need to get used to. So we're not putting in a rich edit, we're not saying rich edit.lines.add, we're putting it all into one line so we can display it in the show message component. So let's see how that works. Right, so there it is. I'm going to click the button. So there they are. Can you see that? All nicely. Well, obviously the message box is narrow. And what if you wanted to put them one underneath each other in a show message component? Well, then we'll just do a hash 13 here instead of a space. So I'll put hash 13. It's an end of line character, means it's going to go onto a new line. Each month will go onto a new line with any luck. We'll see if it does that. Click this button and there it is, nice and neat in one line. Looks like a rich edit, but it's not a rich edit. How would we have done it in a rich edit? So that's another trick you can use. Well, in a rich edit it would be quite easy. You just say red arrays dot lines dot add arr months. We can use the constant array for displaying. But what if we wanted to build and put it in a rich edit? Two things. We want to build the line and we want to display it in the rich edit. So we're being greedy here. We want to display it in the rich edit and we're going to build the line. So let's go and do that. So I'll click on this button and you'll see that it's in the rich edit and it's in our show message component. So it was easy. Now we've got that constant array. The next one that we're going to do, we're going to use that constant array. So I've declared it again over here in this button click event. So you don't have to go and look for the global array. We're going to declare an array of 12 integers filled with random numbers from 1 to 5. Right, so we're going to declare the array, then we're going to fill it with random numbers. And there'll be 5, okay, let's just do that, 12 integers, an array of 12. So we declare our array var. I'm going to call it arrow numbers colon array 1 to 12 of integer, and then we've got to put random numbers in it. So each box of our array, now this is a variable, okay, it's not a constant, so there's your constant and there's your variable. Can you see they're actually parallel to each other, because each one, box number 1 is going to be January, box number 2, box number 12 will be February, because that's actually when we want to get to. So let's first go and fill it up with random numbers. So I'm going to say for, and it is an array of integers, so we can do that. For k equals 1 to 12, do arrow numbers square brackets k equals random range open brackets. Our random number can be from 1 to 5. Okay, 1 comma 6. If it's 1 to 5, you have to have 1 comma 6. Remember that. So that's filling the array with numbers. Okay, we can go and display it too if you want, so you can see what it looks like. But we're going to do something a little bit. Remember, when you're displaying an array of integers, then you need to convert it to strings. Int to string. This array has got integers in it, and we've got to convert it to string. So we have to say int to string there. So that's what this is going to look like. Let's have a look what it looks like. Click the button. There it is. Now, what they want you to do here, instead of the 2, 5, 5, 1, 1, 1, we want it must be a line, 2 stars, and then 5 stars, and then 5 stars, and then 1 star, and whatever those numbers are, we want them to be shown as stars, not as the number, okay? And then we've got to put the month for each of those. There's 12 of them. We've got to put the month next to the stars. So that's going to be a bit tricky. So we know what we have to do with the rich edit.lines.add, okay? We are going to use our for loop. That for loop, that original for loop was used to fill the array. Okay, now we're actually going to use a for loop to display something, the number of stars. Okay, so what we have to do is we have to go and get each box and put it in an integer value. So let's go and get it I quantity integer. What's in each box? So we're going to go through each box using a for loop. We're going to store each box's number into an integer called I quantity, and then using I quantity with another for loop, we're going to build a string of stars. And how do we build strings? We always start with an empty string. So I'm going to go and make sure I've got that as a string data type. So there it is. And then I'm going to use another for loop going from 1 to whatever I quantity is. So I'm going to use another for loop counter. Let's call it M. Let's say for M equals 1 to I quantity. We're going to build the stars. S stars equals S stars plus, and put a star at the end of it. So we're building a string of stars. Then over here in the rich edit on lines.add statement, we can go and put in arrow months, box number, arrow months, square brackets K plus S stars, whatever S stars was. Maybe we put in a space here before it. This looks neater that way. Right, let's go through the code again, because it was quite a mouthful for you here. First of all, we've got a constant array of months, January, February, March, all the way to 12. Okay, we know what that looks like. Then we have an array of numbers from 1 to 12 too. which will correspond, you know, there'll be numbers for each month. So we go and get a for loop counter and we go and display, oh no, we fill the random number, we put random numbers into AR numbers, okay, because it's not the constant array. Oops, sorry. We're putting a random number from 1 to 5 into each box of AR numbers. Okay, that's easy. Then we're going to take each box, whatever the number is in each box, we store it into an integer. So we go through each box again, 1 to 12, take that number from there and build as many stars as what that number adds up to. So if our quantity is 2, then we'll have 2 stars. If our quantity is 4, we'll have 4 stars. And this is what this code does. It builds a string of stars. And how do we build a string? We start with an empty string, and then we use a for loop from 1 to how many stars there are. Because remember, our quantity is our number from the box. From 1 to our quantity, so if it's 1 to 2, then S stars will be equal to S stars plus a star. So we're building a string inside this for loop with the M for loop counter. We're not using M, but we're definitely using K over here. Why? Because K is going from 1 to 12 and we want to use AR months, the corresponding month of the year. So AR months is that's where we're doing it, and then we display the line called S stars. So we can run it and see what it looks like. And if you don't understand this totally, go over it again. The video is there. You can always watch it again, and you have to do that, okay? So that's all for today.